Greetings, all greetings. One of my favorite views from Barbados. This is like looking out towards Africa. On the west coast of Africa, northwest Africa actually. Syria, Senegal, Gambia, the stolen Sahara lands, watching the clouds come in from the what two of my favorite vloggers call the African Ocean, and I think that's appropriate. Watching the clouds come in from the African Ocean, because if you look at it, they call all the waters around Africa something else other than Africa. And Africa is the is like stretches almost above the equator, almost down to the South Pole. But nothing around there is named Arab names, English names, Indian names. Nothing African. And Africa refuses to assert itself. African leaders refuse to assert their part in the world. It's so shameful. But anyway, we didn't come to talk about that today. We're going to talk about something else. The other day I saw two things that kind of... One, say, wow. And the other one, I'm looking at and see what repercussions come from it. The first one is that China says, from news reports, says China says they're reporting that China stopped the importation of Boeing aircraft. And that's going to have some consequences. One, Boeing is not going to be building all the aircraft that it used to build. That's going to affect the aircraft business in America. Two is that it's not going to accept the loss of those revenues very easily. So guess what's going to happen? The U.S. government is going to have to step up and pay Boeing. You hear what I'm telling you? The U.S. government is going to have to step up and pay Boeing. The other thing is that they're going to fall on Europe and South American countries, and even maybe some countries in Africa, forcing them to buy more Boeing airplanes. You heard about those economic hitmen. You know what their job is to do. They walk in the office of every president, every country, and say, hey, we need you to buy a Boeing airplane. And when they say no, the other guys come in and say, well, we got to take you out and put somebody else in. If you don't step down, they kill you. You see where this story is? This story has more repercussions than people are talking about in the news. The other part that people are not talking about. Everybody is talking about Wall Street, how is this going to affect Wall Street? but I'm telling you how it's going to affect the rest of the world. Now, Africa can use this. I'm serious. Africa can use this. Africa can come in and say, look, we hear you want to buy airplanes. You want to sell airplanes. China is not buying the airplanes anymore. So we want to start an airline serving all of Africa. And we want you to do, you buy the airplane, but you're going to have to set up air traffic control systems throughout Africa. And whatever China was going to pay for those airplanes, we'll pay you, but this is what we want you to do in order to get our money. You set up aircraft systems throughout Africa. Train our people to monitor flights, like the FAA, you know, the people who watch the sky. And instead of one or two airlines flying out of Africa across the world, you have a system of airplanes feeding all Africans, whether they're going east to China or going west to South America. You don't have to go to Europe anymore. You just get on a flight going to South America and the Caribbean, because we have the airplane, we have the systems in place to fly you there. But then again, African leaders don't have the capacity, the thinking capacity. The only thinking capacity they have is how to steal the money coming from the UN. But this suggestion, you will never see come to fruition unless you have diasporans in there and they allow us to guide that process, which is going to benefit us and Africa, but Africans most. Again, like I was saying, the U.S. going to have to fund money to Boeing. More military airplanes, more missiles, more bombs. And when you build those things, guess what? Have to use them. Enter wars. More wars. So there's huge repercussions for this thing that China just did. Huge. And if it goes on for about 3 years, which China just built an airplane called, they call it the CR-929, which is a long-range, high-capacity aircraft that can possibly challenge the Boeing 87 and 777 to some extent. You can also kind of challenge Airbus with his aircraft, like the A330 and 350 long-range aircraft. But one of the things that can also come into play, that it can put China into the aviation market, where places, well, not places, but countries. No. Like BRICS countries. All the countries in what is called the Far East now that deal with China be buying these airplanes. All across Africa, China could be putting these airplanes in place. If China will say, you know, well, we'll come in and build a system that, like the one that I was just describing, that Boeing could build. You buy aircraft from Comac, we'll come in and reinvent your flight systems. New radars, airports where you can fly from country to country in Africa. And guess what? That will significantly put Africa onto the world stage. Because now Africans can go from one country to the other without having to drive across borders and being robbed by the immigration, not only the immigration, but the police who stop you and everywhere in the country and take your money. Take your, even seeing it where medication, old people, elderly people had their medication taken from them by police. In Senegal, in Gambia, in Nigeria, in Ghana. Government know about it, don't do anything about it. But anyway, Africa can go say, you know what? 3 years down the road, China is going to have the aviation market. We're going to take it from Boeing. And they're going to be strong competition for Airbus. China is not going to be buying many Airbuses because they're making their own airplane. And now, Africa has got a system built by China which is a future system, not one that's old and having a lot of problems like the one they have now. This thing has repercussions far beyond what Trump thought it had. When I see America doing this thing, I'm saying to myself, do they know what they're doing? But then again, what can I say? Let's move on to the other subject. China, I see Chinese companies making ads about the cost of products manufactured in China and sold to the West. And I'm saying to myself, I thought Americans knew this, you know what I'm saying? And they were just, I thought Americans knew this and they just, you know, they have money to spend and they just giving the money away. But then, as people, Caucasians started making videos about the cost of these items and saying, wow, black women in America and Europe started entering the fray. And some were making fun at how much their products cost. They were showing off some of them real products and some of them their fake products. I saw one lady with a looked like she one of those people who terms herself an influencer. She had, I would say, 200 bags that run from anywhere from $10,000 to $40,000 in a closet. This closet was just bags, and the closet was as big as my guest's bedroom. She was poking fun at it. But as the time passed, There are black women coming in and they are upset. Talking about how, yes, you can buy these products from China, but the quality is not the same thing, and da 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 da. They were upset that somebody is saying, hey, your product is worth, you're paying $30,000 for a bag that's worth $3,000 or $2,000 or $1,000. They were hugely upset. You can see it on yourself for yourself all over YouTube. They're coming in defending Fendi and Pierre Cardin and saying, yes, the price of my product is worth what I pay for it. Huh? Were you listening to these people in China who were saying, yes, we know what the cost is? Like I was telling you, the cost of a iPhone, make an iPhone for $200 to $200 to $300 and selling it for $11 to $14. Now I seen one $1,600. People buying iPhones, don't mind buying. That's their choice. But even if you don't know the cost of this thing, and then you're going to come out, when somebody tell you the cost, you're going to get upset because somebody told you the cost, of the actual cost. Huh? That's a sign of stupidity now. That's a sign of ignorance. And not just ignorance because you don't know, it's ignorance because you don't want to know. You know, I heard some people say, you know what, I'm going to die anyway, so I'm going to eat salt. I mean, you got the choice, you can eat salt. I'm going to eat as much salt as I can. I'm going to eat as much sugar as I can. I'm going to eat as much this and that. You know, it's not good for me. But who wants to die healthy? What a foolish state. No person who is healthy dies healthy. Unless they get into an auto accident or get executed. Go to war or something like that. But the average person who is healthy doesn't die healthy. You die because your body lacks the nutrients that's good for it. Healthy bodies don't die. Something failed. That's why you die, fool. I mean, when I listen to those black women, I remember something. I remember the guy, program, a guy named Kevin Samuel. Said, you guys don't even smile at a black man. And this black woman says, why should I? And there were women came on and just trashed Kevin, saying, yeah, I don't need to smile at a black man. Why should I? This is a failure of a people, a mind. I mean, these are people who got degrees and everything and brag about it. But who am I? I can only sit back and laugh at the, the stupidity as I see it. I hope the people who listen to my videos don't go that way. Your $30,000 for a handbag is an investment that can build wealth for the future yourself, and if you teach your children, they can build on it, build greater wealth. And wealth is not just something that you can flaunt. It's not something that you just flaunt. Wealth is power. But somehow we don't get it. Anyway, if you're going to Africa, I'm telling you today, before you go, watch what the African leader in the place that you want to go to does. What that leadership does. How it is reacting to the situation as they come up in today's world. You might go to Nigeria and sit in this comfortable living room, go to Ghana, because you got the money and you don't have to work anymore, so you just go in there. You want to sit in your living room, relax in your big house, show it on TV, show it to your friends. You're good. That's the lifestyle you like. Good. But when this thing gets worse and worse and worse, and the Ghanaians now and the Nigerians start going after you because you got the money that, or they think you got the money that will help them to live like you. You see where I'm going with this? Now, if you with your $1,000 bag instead of that $30,000, you save $29,000, and you go buy some land in Ghana, invest in something where you're going to be feeding Ghanaians or producing something that's vital. You know, you bring some equipment to Ghana to make medication, to do diagnostics. You're contributing. You're building a brand that people are going to say, oh, that guy, I know him. You see? But you live in your living room and saying how great the country is. Nobody knows you. What are you doing? Wherever you are, have a great day. Peace.